So there's probably a laundry list of items that people are sitting here going, okay, I'm going to figure out how to measure that. I'm going to find my, you know, my goal, my problem. I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to do all the hard work. I'm going to invest and do what you just told me we need to do. There's so much. How do I determine where to start?
Good question. And it varies based on where you are and what the challenge is ahead of you. So for some, it may be we're seeking to drive costs out of the business, and not by stripping away services, but by creating a lean path forward. And if we have a high value, high potential line of work, that may become an area that we want to find more value in, and that may be a strategic intent for us. If we look at our scores honestly and see, hey, there's some opportunity for improvement in the customer space, how we're showing up. We are not necessarily meeting some of the deadlines we've set in place. We see that some of our work is at risk along the delivery cycle. And this perhaps is happening with a key customer or key customer segment for us. Then that can potentially become a strategic area that we want to focus in on most. And then that brings in the entire conversation you packaged here for us, where we want to look at process. We want to look at the technology. We want to look at if there's an AI component to help drive some of those decisions so that we can drive the result of that process, that strategic intent, that much faster. So it's a broad question, and it really depends on what the business is focused in on most. Are you looking at driving customer value, taking cost out of your business, differentiating your business model, et cetera? What would you say, Tracy, on the strategic intent? When you've looked at tax operations and the partners you've talked to over the years, where do you see as a good way to begin prioritizing how we should invest our dollars and grow our practices?
Yeah, I think it's certainly, trying to plot once you determine the measurement, you've done all that scoping, really just looking at an example here. I mean, it's not something we created. You've seen a million matrices like this, but, prioritizing based on the complexity of implementation that might drive some of your decision, but also the value and the impact of that. So you might very well find that there are quick wins that you can knock out that actually really move the needle. And depending on your organization, you might really need those wins from a change management perspective. There's other drivers around the decisions that we make and what to prioritize, because depending on, cultural considerations within your organization, change, maybe you're entering new businesses, maybe, there's just been a shift that you're trying to navigate alongside just the tax stuff, right? And the change management aspect is real. So there's definitely opportunity to look at what you can knock out through quick wins. I always think that you should be tackling some of those while you're pursuing your big stuff in that upper right quadrant, the really strategic stuff, the longer term visionary stuff that you're trying to work towards, that takes more time because it is more complex, but certainly going to drive value. And then the other place that I just would focus on is that upper left quadrant, because, certainly if you've gone through and you've measured and you've got a list of things that you need to change, but you end up with a lot in that rethink box, to me, it's usually a good sign that it needs to be rethought, descoped, broken down into something that's sizable that you can tackle. So a lot of what I find that ends up there is we just didn't go deep enough, honestly, and need to break it down or determine what our phase 1, phase 2 might be for implementation.